All right, so I have written up here two more. These are actually formulas: the sum and difference formula and a double angle formula. These formulas are very much the idea of I give you two angles or I give you an angle. You're going to use a formula to find an answer. It's like a plug and chug type of math. It's not so much with the verifying. These are going to be used much more when we get into solving trigonometric equations. Before we were solving simple trigonometric equations without trig identities and trig formulas. When we get into solving actual trig equations, we're going to have to be using these as well. All right, so let's look at the sum and difference formula. And the one thing I really just kind of want to point out is how to read these. Here it says sine of theta plus or minus phi. So I could have an angle plus an angle or an angle minus an angle. Now what's important is the orientation of the plus and minus. I have a plus here and a minus here. Now when I come over here, I can see the sine of theta times cosine of phi. So I'm just going to take these and plug them in. And if you notice, this part here says plus or minus. Whatever the orientation, if your plus is on top and your plus is on top, when you're adding, you're going to add. If the minus is on bottom, the minus is on bottom, you're going to subtract. Whatever's on top goes with the top as we go through these. So if you look at cosine of theta plus or minus phi, that is cosine of theta, cosine of phi minus plus. That's not a mistake. So whenever you're adding angles with cosine, that means you're going to subtract in your formula because it's on top. Both of these are on top. Here, when you're subtracting with cosine, that means we're going to add in our formula because both of these are on the bottom. So when we go to tangent, I have tangent of theta plus or minus phi. Well, on the top part of this fraction, I have tangent of theta plus or minus. So plus is on top, plus is on top. But when I go to the bottom, it is 1 minus plus. It's not a mistake. I'm saying it minus plus on purpose for that reason. The minus is on top. So here, whenever I'm adding, on the top I add, on the bottom I subtract because it's the symbol that's on top. Here, the minus is on bottom. So here, I'm going to subtract because that's on bottom, and here I'm going to add because that's what's on bottom. So this is actually 6 different formulas written in a condensed version, but you have to know how to read these. It's not always plus or minus, plus or minus, plus or minus. We also have a minus plus, and the orientation of where it is where it is matters. All right, and our double angles, just kind of get these in your notes. These are going to work the same way. If you see sine of 2 times an angle, it is 2 sine of that angle times cosine of that angle. With cosine of 2 times an angle, you have 3 different formulas you can use. And tangent of 2 times an angle, you have this formula to use as well. So you're going to use them the same way, and I'm going to work some problems in later videos actually showing how to work these. So there's one more identity I'm going to need to show you. All right, so the last formula I need to show you is the half angle formula, like we're cutting an angle in half. So we have an angle and we're going to divide it by 2. That's a half angle. Well, the formula for that is going to be plus or minus the square root of 1 minus cosine of your angle divided by 2. And at this point, if you know this angle, you just plug it in and chug out an answer. For my cosine of my angle divided by 2, it's basically the same formula, except my sign's changed. It's 1 plus. So it's plus or minus the square root of 1 plus cosine theta divided by 2. And then the tangent theta divided by 2, you go through some algebra process, and you basically get 1 minus cosine theta over sine theta, or sine theta over 1 plus cosine theta. You can actually set these equal to each other and verify that they're the same, just simply by multiplying by the conjugate, and it'll work out. Now, here's how I keep these two straight in my head. I just know it's going to be 1, and one of them is going to be a plus, one of them is going to be a minus, cosine theta divided by 2, under the square root. I remember sine starts with an S, and subtraction starts with an S. So sine, I already know, is going to have a subtraction symbol with it. That actually kind of helps me keep this straight in my head so I don't confuse which one's minus, which one's plus. And that actually pays dividends later on when you get into hyperbolics, if you ever get that far in math. Hi, I'm Mr. Buzzard, and these videos are supplemental instruction for my students. If you found the video enjoyable, make sure you click the like button and click subscribe, as well as the bell for notifications to receive future videos on high school mathematics.